Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Below the Line episode. I'm here with Gary Parker, owner of Dynamic Global Media, and this week we're going to talk about directing, producing, filming, and all the really cool stuff that goes on behind the scenes. How about you tell us a little about yourself, Gary?
Well, first I'd like to congratulate you guys on your show.
Thank you.
You know, I've known you a little bit, and I'm really excited about what y'all are doing. So I think it'll be good. I've been doing this for about 45 years. When I began, we were literally shooting on film. I know you've heard of that maybe, but literally shooting on film and cutting on a flatbed where you literally took a razor and cut this. So technology has been a huge friend when it comes to the film video production business.
Yeah,
it's taken us from, you know, what took a long time to do something pretty simple to where you can do complicated stuff very easily these days. So just to give you an idea, from the film to the where we are today, my first nonlinear editing system, which, you know, is a system that's computer-based that you can edit on as opposed to machine-to-machine stuff we did back in the day. The first hard drives for that, it was a Avid system, and it had proprietary drives, and the drives were 9 gigs apiece. And on that 9 gigs, it would store about 15 minutes of video, and it was $1,000 a gig. Okay.
That is crazy.
So you compare that to today, you can get a terabyte for a couple $100 that you can edit all day, all night on. It's come a long way. So yeah, that's just one of the things I've seen over the course of my career. I've been blessed and actually probably getting to do everything you can do, from film to documentary, to TV production, to now we actually even manage all the program for a TV station in Houston.
Awesome. It's the really cool thing. I've got to really grow up with you and learn a lot of filming through what you've got to show us. And I mean, even, you know, 8 years ago when I started picking up a camera, the price of an SD card was, you know, maybe $20, $30 more expensive than what it is now, and it's crazy how the film industry has come to where almost everyone can buy a camera and everyone can learn and do shoots. So it's really, really cool. So I do want to talk about your history of what you've been doing in these 45 years of film.
Okay. I started out literally as a still photographer when I was in my late teens, and I got a job as a still photographer in the medical center. I was working in the pathology department at the medical school at UT, and I was doing electron microscope work and shooting body parts from autopsy and this kind of stuff. And I met some guys who were working in the TV department, and I went out, got a TV camera, went out and shot a resume tape good enough to get hired. And so at that point, we were doing a TV show for the medical center called Midday. And I got hooked and started doing television for that. That led to a job at Channel 13 for 5 years where I was a video producer. So I was in charge of the edit department, the live trucks, the satellite trucks, all that kind of stuff, and for news, which was a great learning field. I mean, you know, baptism by fire in the news department, because, you know, everything is at a fast pace, and you've got to get it edited within the next 5 minutes or it misses a slot. So it was a great learning. That led to me having an independent news bureau in Washington, D.C. that I had about 5 years, and we did reporting, Washington-based reporting, like, you know, the State of the Union and what the congressmen were voting on and stuff, and did that for about 5 years. I had 150 affiliates across the United States. We started out literally out of a closet in a congressional press room. We had a little editor in there, and when I sold it 5 years later, we were the 3rd largest independent news bureau in Washington, D.C. So we had a really good run. Out of that, I started freelancing, and I started a entertainment company. We manage bands, and we actually started our own independent label. And the music business is crazy. I'll say that. It's a good place to lose money. Uh, it's a lot of fun, but if you're not, it's kind of like television. If you're talent, there's where a lot of the money is. Well, the music business, if you're not on stage and you're on the back end, that's just a long haul. So that was fun. Did that. And then a freelance for ABC, NBC, all the major networks, different people from around the world, Japanese TV, French TV. We did a lot of NASA stuff. We did, Colt Waco standoff. I spent like 60 days in a ditch on the side of the road watching this little building that ended up burning up in the end. So did a lot of that, and then I opened another production company and kind of got back into full service, 'cause I like coming up with the concept. I like doing the script. I like producing the pieces and the shooting and editing. And so that's basically what Dynamic Global Media we do today. Do a lot of commercials. We probably have 50 commercials on the air. We do marketing videos, corporate videos. I'm a contractor for Chevron, do media work for those guys, which is a great company. And probably the best project I've done of recent, over about the last 5 years, was a documentary we did called The Only Guarantee, which I did with my business partner and our CEO, Crystal Christmas. And we followed Crystal. She actually planned her funeral. A perfectly healthy, at the time, about a late 30-ish old woman who wanted to plan her funeral because she knew where she was going, and she kind of wanted to do it as a testimony and a testament to her beliefs. So we interviewed about 70 different people about what they think happens when you die. What happens to your friends and your relatives and your family when they die. What do you think goes on? And a series of questions about that. We interviewed people of all walks of life, believers, non-believers, Hindus, Buddhists, everything, and came up with this documentary, which was fascinating as to the subject that most people don't want to talk about, right? Most people seem to, let's put that death thing off until the very last minute. But it's really our message in that film, that documentary, was to live your life as if this is the last day. If you make this day count and you really put forth everything you've got into it, then if this happened to be your day, you could say, well, I lived a good life today, So that was our message, and the interesting thing about that, and why I bring that up too, is we're in pre-production to do a sequel to it. At that time that we interviewed all these people, Crystal's husband at the time got cancer, and in about 18 months he was gone. And so it became really something that God had put on her heart to make for her, really, to deal with losing this. And as we look through all the people involved in this documentary, several have passed away. One in particular, young lady, wasn't even sick at the time, just like William. He wasn't even sick at the time that we knew, and has passed away. And so we're going to go back and kind of look at how important all that really is. Here we introduced you to all these people, and here's how their lives have changed. Here's people who've lost loved ones, people who've lost lives themselves. So that's one of our big projects with DGM. We're also, next year, we're excited about doing our first totally produced feature film ourselves in years that we're working on, which is has a subject matter that I won't bring up here, but if you promise to come back and visit me in a couple of months, I can share it with you. But
we definitely will. We will definitely love to talk about anything that's coming up. I know a lot of viewers would love to see that. So with the facts that you've gone into this industry and you've done it for so long, what are some tips you can give to young filmmakers and young people that want to write and direct and to do? What are some of the things that you would recommend for them to start to?
Okay. Yeah, I can give you a few things I learned the hard way. I believe that if you're going into films, either documentary or feature films, story-driven films, you got to start with a good story. I think that's the problem right now with mainstream Hollywood and I could be wrong because I don't see as much as I used to see everything, but original stories are not something they do with blockbuster money anymore. You know, they make the same kind of stuff over and over. But a real good story that's different and original and touch people's lives, I think, is key. So start with, and that's something our film we're going to do next year is it's something very important to me, something I've been working on in another capacity for over 20 years. And so I think you need to come up with a really good story, you know, something you're passionate about, something you believe in. If this is going to be one of your first projects, something that touches your heart and touches the heart of the people around you. So if you can come up with a good story, then obviously you're probably going to have to rely on your friends and stuff. But as you well know, having been in directed theater and everything else, there are some unbelievably great actors in this world, especially in our part of the world, who never get a real chance to practice their craft unless they leave here. And so you can get some incredible acting talent in our area and get them pretty cheap. I don't want to say that for you guys, but you know, get people who are believable, who are passionate about your project and believe in your project and want to use it to further their career and their craft. We mentioned a little bit ago about on the technical side, I mean, cameras have gotten less expensive. They've gotten better image quality and stuff. Practice, practice, practice is the key on that. Look at as much film as you can. Find the movies you like to watch and think about, why do I like to watch that movie? Why did I enjoy that? What touched me? Was it story? Was it the acting? Was it directing? Was it editing, the cinematography? Think of all those things when you put together your own project. What can I make different with this that stands out? Cinematography is my favorite, of course, and you can tell so much with just an image. And learn something about cameras, learn something about lenses, and lighting especially, because all those things help you tell your story. You can set the mood, you can affect the audience just with those things, and nobody even has to say a word. But if it's lit and it's shot with the right lens and the mood's set correctly, you can tell, you know, everything you want to hear. And also, sound is very important. You know, us video guys, you know, us visual guys, you know, we never want to wait on sound, but sound is incredibly necessary. And I think it's harder now. Digital sound is less forgiving than analog sound was. Back when we did everything in analog sound, we really had a much wider band that we could play in and still get good sound. So I think it's more critical now in the digital world to make sure that your sound is good, not overmodulated, not undermodulated, but to make sure it's good. Because if people cannot hear what your actors are saying, you're also in deep trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a long time running with filming and stuff like that for you in this business. Is there any fun stories of something you've shot that, you know, maybe didn't go the way you thought it was going to, or something like that?
Well, let me tell you this much, and I've shot millions of hours of film, right, over 40 years. Nothing has ever gone exactly how I thought it would go. Okay.
Yeah.
And the funny stuff, a lot of times, is behind the camera. The stuff that happens that you don't see. You know, I mean, I can't think of anything that comes to mind at the moment, but always be prepared for the unexpected, because the unexpected is going to happen. Sometimes it's the best thing that happens for you. You know, you just end up in the right place at the right time with the camera going, I can't believe he just did that, you know. I've been at the wrong place a couple of times, but especially back in the news day, you know, when people didn't want to be filmed, and you kind of had to, we had those big old huge 50-pound cameras, and every once in a while you could just kind of slide off your shoulder and convince somebody to back up a little bit. But we won't go into all that. Funny wise, nothing's coming to mind at the moment, but let me tell you, it's never gone the way I thought it would. And after all these years, after 45 years, I've never done anything yet that I've said, I'm done. You know, my mission here is done. I keep learning. I learn a lot from young people because y'all approach things differently than I did. You know, I had great mentors and great teachers growing up and stuff, but I learn a lot from new cinematographers and new techniques and new ways of doing things because each generation, each group sees it a little differently and approaches it a little differently. And I think we can all learn from each other. And I think that's a great thing about what we're doing. You know, we're creating something out of thin air, basically. I mean, it does not exist. You know, the story doesn't exist, the image doesn't exist, nothing exists. And then we're taking that and editing it together into something that's hopefully worth the person's time to sit and watch what we've created. So, and the other thing that's very important, and I've also spent my whole career working on, is distribution. Because like a great artist who paints a great painting and nobody ever sees it when he's alive and he dies and everybody goes, wow, that's a great painting, great artist. I've been trying to find the key to distribution. When I worked in television, it was pretty easy, but then I got out of that, and then I got into online streaming back when that was literally coming into age. And so I learned a lot about that because I thought everything's going to end up going to the internet, which I was correct about. My timing wasn't great, but I did see it coming, that future. But I got into this television station that we manage. And it's an over-the-air TV antenna TV station like we had when I was younger, when I was a kid. Because you young folks are saying, why should I pay $150 a month for cable and satellite? I've got my phone, I got my laptop, I got my pad, and I've got an antenna on the roof so I can get all the main channels I want. There's over 110 channels in Houston alone that you can get for free off a pair of, you know, sticks, antenna. So that's making a huge comeback. It's like 34% in Houston. Our TV station, KVQT Channel 21. We have a viewership, a possible viewership. We can't guarantee they're all watching at the same time, but over 2 million people. And so there's over 2 million people can see what we put on, you know, and programs that you guys are producing and stuff can watch this for free, which is like in the olden days when TV first was invented. Advertisers pay for it. It's the way it should be. But we're real excited about that. We really want to really encourage filmmakers. We do films on Friday nights and Saturday nights. And I do a lot of old stuff that you guys have never seen that I think would be of interest to you. And I'm I want to invite anybody of any age that has a film they want to share with the world, you know, to give us a call, let us know about it. We'd be happy to put it on the air for you. And at least get you a couple of million people to look at it. And we just opened up Beaumont, so now we got about 2,500,000, say, that are watching what we do, or possibly watching what we're doing. You know, I can't tell you at the moment there's more than 3, but there's a possibility. So that's kind of a distribution tool I didn't have before. I signed a deal with a company in California that's doing Roku, Netflix, Amazon, those kind of TV things for us. So anything we come up with that's nationwide, we've got a platform we can deliver it on that. And we generally do sort of revenue sharing with folks on this, you know, whatever money we can bring in, whatever money the salespeople can bring in, we share that. We need money to operate the station, but y'all need money to produce products. So that's the distribution. So I took it from concept to distribution. So it took me an hour and a half, but I wrapped that up for you. Sorry.
It's an opportunity for us to learn everything that goes on behind every closed door that you may not know about, and that's the whole point of the show. Though, is it's supposed to be behind the scenes. It shows the backside of work, and it's the great part. But I do want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
If there's anything else you'd like to say to our lovely audience.
Well, like I say, once again, I want to congratulate you guys on doing this. I think it's a great idea. It's good because you can talk to young folks and older guys who've been doing it a while. And I mean, if you have a passion for it, just go for it. You know, it's not going to be what your parents are going to want you to do in college. It may not be what you do for the rest of your life, but while you're young and you've got the ability and you've got an idea or a story, do it. That's all I can say. Just give it your best shot and enjoy it, because whatever time you spend it, you'll never regret.
Exactly, you know? Exactly. And when you love it, it's not a job.
No, exactly. And I've never worked a day in my life, which is pretty cool.
That's better than a lot of people can say.
Yeah.
You know? So I want to thank you guys for watching this week's episode, and stay tuned next week, and we'll have more special guests. Have a good night.
Breaking news, interesting stories, blogs, and where to go for fun. Woodlands On-Line, the place for information.
I'm Justin O'Neill with Fair Claims Roofing and Construction. With homes getting older and last year's storm damage, the Woodlands area has a growing need for home improvement. For your roofing and remodeling needs, we're always your local and safest choice, and we can't wait to discuss the details of your project.